Hello and welcome to an incredibly sunny Meribel. We are here for the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships. I hope some of you have already been seeing some of the incredible action we've had from here out in the French Alps. We've had every kind of condition, and who would know it, on the day that we go live, it gives us bluebird sky and absolutely beautiful snow conditions. Like I said, I'm Kath Brazier. I'm delighted to be joined by Wing Commander Joe Goodwin. He sounds pretty important already, who's going to co-commentate for me. He probably will be doing the lion's share of the work, given that he does telemark himself. He's been on the slopes for years and years and years, and he knows the athletes really well. Joe, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your role with the UK Armed Forces Winter Sport Association and your role in Telemark, and a little history about, your skiing career as well. Let the audience know who you are.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Kath. So as I said, I'm Commander Joe Goodwin. Started telemarking back in the 90s in Chamonix with a bunch of friends who were racing World Cup. Clearly I wasn't good enough for that, so I joined the Royal Air Force instead. And then since then...
Lucky to have you.
Yeah, I've had a good time. So, I managed to ski with the Alpine team for a few years, and then when they got cracking with the telemark side of things at the Armed Forces Championships, I was lucky enough to be asked to take over as the chairman of RAF Telemark in the early noughties, and then we moved on from that, and the Armed Forces Telemark discipline has really evolved over the last few years, and it's fantastic to still be involved with it as an official.
I think telemark is still a bit of an anomaly to some people. They recognise alpine skiing, they recognise snowboarding. What is it that draws you in to telemark and keeps you in there, because it's still such a unique sport?
Yeah, so telemark is obviously the original sort of skiing, originated back in Norway as a means of getting around the mountain. It is incredibly tough to do. You see people doing a lunge turn. It gets confused sometimes with cross-country skiing, but it's just a great sport, and when you watch it being done well, it's really, really graceful, incredible to watch. And normally you find a great bunch of people are doing it. They like to go ski touring as well as racing, and there's a great, as I say, great bunch of folks who like to telemark.
And this Telemark Classic in particular is probably one of the, as far as endurance goes, I mean, I likely put it that people are dying when they get to the finish line, but that's the aim, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's designed by sadists. It's a really tough course. So it's one of four disciplines that we have within telemarking. We have the giant slalom, which is pure based giant slalom course. We have a sprint, and then we have the Telemark Classic. And the Classic is a single run. It's longer clearly than the sprint, and it comprises obviously the telemark turns, a jump, a wrap which is designed to take the speed off, and then a skate section. And yeah, if you're not puking up over the finish line, you've not really been trying hard enough, I don't think.
Yeah, so Lewis is just quickly going, for our viewers, just quickly doing the course. He's now sort of reaching the wrap, or the loom as it's sometimes called. You can follow the blue lines, and then of course the skate is effectively flat, but we're actually on quite a camber here, aren't we? I mean, the uphill is part of it, and that's the fun part. In terms of crowds and stuff like that, this is sort of audience participation is encouraged at this event, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So during the skate section, what we'll see is when the racers are down, they'll be getting into the middle section of the course and really encouraging their colleagues on. This is part of the sort of the unique aspect of Telemark, in that all the teams, irrespective of service, recognise the effort that each other are putting in and really support each other.
Let's talk a bit about it being quite an historical event this year. We know that Telemark generally has been on the rise with women for a while, but it's been very gradual. Tell us what's so historic about this year in terms of the athletes that we have here.
Yeah, so I mean, Telemark's a tough event for us to recruit into. You really need to be a decent GS alpine skier before you really start telemarking. And this year is the first time we've had representation from all three services in the women's event, which is absolutely fantastic. I
mean, the two Army ladies are officer cadets, so effectively their results don't count, but promising for the future, obviously, because one day there'll be full-blooded Army members competing out here.
Yeah, that's right. They've been really good fun this week, super enthusiastic, and a really welcome addition to the scene. And yeah, we're really hoping that they'll be back as full members of the British Army racing and representing for the Army.
Well, listen, Joe, we've got about 10 minutes really until the first races, so you and I will chat some more, but I just wanted to turn away from Telemark for a minute just so that you guys can have a look at what else has been going on in Meribel in the last 4 days of action. We were at the snowboard cross final a couple of days ago, and Claire Sadler spoke to some of the athletes about how they treat their boards, and this will be across Alpine and Telemark as well, but it's very specific to the sport. So let's see Claire's piece on how they wax the boards.
It's just to make you try and go quicker on the piste itself, and it all starts actually in the evening. So we'll look at the weather, see what the snow temperature and the air temperature is, and that then depends on what wax we then will use. That then gets placed on with a hot iron, left on overnight, and then when we come out onto the piste, just before we qualify or race, we'll then scrape that off to be able to get the better slide across the ice.
So what sort of wax did you choose then, knowing that it was going to be like this today?
So looking at the air and the snow temperature, I use what we call a yellow wax, which means that it's good, or it's actually optimum within around 4 degrees down to 6.
How do you know when it's finished?
It's just a polish, so you can see on there it's quite a nice sheen in it. People who haven't waxed them correctly, you'll see quite a lot of put in from wax that might be laid on, and if you just throw some snow down it, you'll be able to see that it's quite, you'll see how it runs down and nicely falls off.
And if you haven't done it properly, what's going to happen to you?
It just means that it'll be really grippy, so because there's a lot of pitting where you might put the wax on, it's all undulated, the ice and the snow's going to get within that, and it's just going to make you stick rather than making it glide as it is now.
Okay, so welcome back to Meribel. We are here standing by for the start of the Telemark Classic, and I'm hearing that potentially we could be starting earlier than 1 o'clock here. That is 12 noon back in the UK. So we're just waiting to see a forerunner come down the course, so you can get an idea of what these racers will have to do. We will have the ladies up first, Joe, and followed by the men, or is it the other way around?
No, that's it. Yeah, the ladies will be up first. We have 6 ladies and then a field of 22 men, but we do have one that is not going to start, so it'll be 21 men.
Okay, and so yeah, let's just wait. Lewis is ready. We're waiting for the timing to start. It's been a bit like this this week, Joe, and I know you've felt it with the Telemark. Not as ordered as it normally is, but that's because we've had to adapt to the conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. We constantly need to adapt to the weather and the weather conditions, and it's been a week of all sorts here this week. But we are here. It's a beautiful day, and this should be a great race.
Just tell us the importance of forerunners. They have them in the Alpine events too, and normally they're incredibly fast, and they're sort of French youngsters who are going to probably compete at an international level one day. But the importance of them for you guys in the official sense of things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They are important, and they fulfil a really important role of checking the course is suitable. We've got Ewan Rostelon, who is French team, regarded as a son of Meribel, and he's a World Cup racer. So we're going to have a great visual aid to demonstrate exactly how telemarking should be done. But
don't imagine these forces, particularly some of the top men, are pretty much on that borderline, in terms of skills, aren't they? So there's not going to be a huge amount of difference between the Forerunner and the Army and RAF and Royal Navy racers.
No, some of the guys you're going to see today have been on the British team, and have been racing right at the top level previously.
So we are being followed, hopefully, or this is all going live on Forces News Facebook and Forces News YouTube. So if you are on either of those, please do comment. Let us know where you are. We know what the Forces world is like. This is something we haven't done before. We did the parallel giant slalom, the snowboard parallel giant slalom last year here in Meribel, which was 3 hours in snow. So I'm very pleased to say that we're doing the Telemark Classic in the glorious sunshine. But we'd love to know where you're watching from. If you're family and friends, please do let us know who you're supporting, and we'll try and give them a shout out. Just a note to say that you won't hear much of me during this commentary. I'm here as almost supporting Joe. He's double teaming basically this competition. He'll be commentating on the races as we see the Forerunner come down now, and he'll be doing it live for the audience here as well. So if you hear more of Joe, then that's only a good thing. And we've got the Forerunner on course. So Joe, just talk us through where he's at and what he's thinking.
Yeah, okay, so Ewan Rosselon's just finishing on the steep section now. You're just going to see him go over the jump. He needs to land in a telemark position. There's a line that he needs to cross. If he fails to cross it, he picks up 3 seconds of penalty. Clearly he did cross the line. Yeah. And now he's just finishing off through the skate section, through the GS section, and he's going to be going to the skate. So you'll see him move around the wrap, which takes off the speed, and then we're going to see him into the skate section. So these people have done a full-on giant slalom course, will be absolutely exhausted, and now they're skating.
Yeah, this is where it gets hard, and he's still downhill at the moment. This last bit, as they go past us here at the commentary position, is really brutal, but he's going still at quite a lick. So thanks to the Forerunner there, and of course, we got 2 runners, Joe? 2 Forerunners, or just 1?
No, I think we've just got the 1.
Okay.
So we'll be on to the ladies very shortly.
So thank you to everyone who's joining us here on Forces News YouTube. I'm here with, and Facebook of course, I'm here with Joe Goodwin, who has been telemarking, how long did you say, 20 years? Longer than that?
Yeah, 20 years plus.
20 years. So he knows his stuff, and thankfully for us, he knows these athletes really well. So he'll be able to give you a few professional details about them, and probably some less professional details, maybe, Joe, as they're coming down. But that is the spirit in which we take it here in Meribel. Year on year we get the same racers coming down in all 3 disciplines, and it is brilliant what you learn about people. So we're just waiting. Where Lewis is filming from isn't quite at the top. They do, we're at the bottom bit of the course, so Lewis will catch them. But Sarah Shave, who's the first woman on the course from the RAF, and Sarah has started her run, and we'll probably see her peek over the top. There she is. In fact, Joe, you can do your thing.
Yeah, okay, so we can just see Sarah Shave now coming over the top of the crest of the hill. She's on the steep section. It is a tough part of the course, this, deceptively steep and really tough with the telemark skis on. As you see, the telemark turn should be executed in a lunge with the outermost ski a boot length in front of the rear boot. Sarah's looking pretty smooth so far. Sarah is a air traffic controller from Benson. And her husband is also with the Air Force, and he's the chairman of the team, and we'll see him coming down later. So Sarah's just cresting the jump now, safely over and into the last few gates of the giant slalom section of the course.
And Sarah, this is her second year, was it, competing, or has she been doing it longer?
Yeah, so this is her second year on the team, and looking really smooth now through these last few gates. Trying to get herself together, get herself composed, ready for the skate section.
How hard is the loom, Joe? I know it slows you down, but you have to have the speed to kind of come out of it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of technique in the loom, so you want to go in fast, keep a fairly high line around the bank, and then the idea is to come out with as much speed as possible. It's all about being efficient during the skate section.
And how's the lactate at this point built up?
Yeah, she will be absolutely blowing. As I say, Alpine racers do a full giant slalom course and then they finish. We build in a skate afterwards as well.
So Sarah Shave just coming over the finish line here, the first racer down
Well
in
done,
this
Sarah.
Telemark Classic, and she has a time of 2:36.29. So well done, Sarah. It's not easy being first on course, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's pretty intimidating. And yeah, Sarah's been not racing that long, and really, really good effort.
Claire Thomas then, mother of Telemark, I'm going to continue on that line, on the slope now, and we can see her at the top of the picture, and yeah, she's been around for almost as long as you have in Telemark.
Yeah, so Claire's working currently at Shrivenham, a second RAF skier on the course. And yeah, Claire, she's been around skiing Telemark for quite a few years. She started in Canada, where her husband at the time was working, and did some instructor qualifications and so on. She left us for a couple of years while she had her little boy, and now she's back with us, and we're pleased to have her back on form, and she's skiing better than ever.
So yeah, Claire Thomas just coming down to the latter part of the course, and like Joe was saying, those Telemark turns that you can see, you won't see in Alpine, for example, and they have to get a certain degree of a lunge to make it real as she goes into the loom. Claire Thomas is quite petite. Is there any figure that works better in Telemark?
I think you just have to be really fit, really. I mean, the fitter you are, the less bulky carrying, the better, I think. So Claire Thomas then just safely down the GS section of the course, and she's in through the loom, and she's just finishing off now. Come on, Claire, let's have a big round of applause for Claire. She will be absolutely blowing around the last few gates here. Coming up this steep section, this is really important to keep your momentum as you're coming up the last couple of gates here, and she's going to be safely across the line, and that's a winning time so far. She's a good 15 seconds clear of Sarah. Well done, Claire.
I mean, I joked, but you know, she has been around since the beginning of female sort of military telemarking, and you know, she's been an inspiration to many to come into this sport. Yeah,
absolutely. Claire's, I think you said the mother, she could be the grandmother really of telemarking.
You said that, not me.
But no, she's been a real stalwart in getting things going, and also supporting on the other side of the sport, doing the administration, getting the team kit together and all the rest of it as well. So yeah, fantastic.
So Iona Kelly now on course. And she, another RAF?
No, so Iona's an officer cadet with Exeter University Officer Training Corps. As I said earlier, the two of them have hit the scene this year and have been super enthusiastic. They both raced at Telemark Titan, which is the British Champs and the Army Navy Championships, and put such a good impression in that they were asked to come and compete in this event. Fantastically down the first section of the course into the loom. Should be keeping her speed up here. Both of these ladies compete in a multitude of other sports, triathlon and rugby and so on, but they've been fantastic additions to this event.
Triathlon, telemark and rugby, wow, I mean, that's something else. I doubt they have time to do any work.
Well, I don't know, they're students, aren't they?
Students, of course they are. So Iona Kelly then heading for the finish line here in a really rapid time. She's going to finish in 2 minutes 6.50. Yeah, the Army ladies have been pretty speedy, these officer cadets, over the time.
Yeah, that was a superb effort. Well done, Iona, fantastic effort.
You absolutely flew, mate.
And as these athletes come down, Joe was talking about earlier, we'll see a lot more support. I mean, that's 3 RAF girls in the middle supporting within the Telemark family, rather than, you know, the RAF, Army and Royal Navy. And it's so important when there's only 6 of them competing that they offer that support. We've got the Royal Navy's Tesney Murphy, and she's the only Royal Navy telemarker female that's out here competing, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tesney's another really welcome addition to the event. We can see now she's making her way down the steepest part of the course. It will be getting cut up as the races move down. The snow is pretty soft, but she's looking pretty smooth here today. It's great to see her here for us.
A lot of people have, in the past, commented that it would only be Royal Marines who'd be crazy enough to do telemark. Tesney obviously is Royal Navy. Is it historically something that was quite strong in the Royal Marines?
Yeah, we have seen the Royal Marines and the Army Commandos traditionally doing an awful lot of it, but as you'll see later on, we've got some really strong Navy representation that is non-Royal Marine. Yeah, we've got a submariner, a submersible telemarker, and we've also got an aircraft engineering technician as well, who've done really, really well so far. So Tesney just finishing off on the steep section, the GS here, just getting through the meadow. And as she crosses that line, she can go into a parallel position. And she's going to get round the wrap, trying to maintain as much speed as she possibly can. And then just starting that skate, really pushing. Really important to keep your head up while you're skating and push through. Her legs will be absolutely burning from the GS section, and she'll be looking to try and maintain a little bit of energy, ready for this final deceptively steep climb to the finish.
Tesney Murphy then on course and up the final uphill bit of the course. Come on, Tesney.
Seeing some great support here also from the other ladies on the course, and even some of the Alpine races as well. RAF Alpine team captain there giving some support too.
I think that's when you're such a small family as the RAF. I keep saying RAF. I think you're here. It must be passed on. I'm wearing a light blue hat. I think that's what's happened. But yeah, the Telemark family generally, and you find it in Alpine and snowboard. You know, they all intermingle. They're pretty friendly.
They certainly are.
So Phoebe Garrett now, another officer cadet for the Army on course.
Yeah, so Phoebe's ambition is to one day earn a Red Bull helmet or do a backflip, and she has promised she's going to do a backflip off the jump at some point this week, but I've not seen one yet.
I would suggest she wear said helmet for the backflip.
I think she probably would need to.
And she's same as Iona, a student still, officer cadet.
Yeah, so she's also at Exeter University Officer Training Corps. We've seen a lot of people coming through that route as well. We'll see Ben Atkinson later from the British Army. He was an Exeter University Officer Cadet, and yeah, they've also got a great position in Telemark at Exeter.
I was going to say, what have Exeter done so special?
Really not sure. I mean, they're pretty close to the Royal Marines, aren't they?
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so we can see Phoebe Garrett now just finishing off the skating section. She's just coming into the steep climb. She's going to really push it out now. Keep your head up, Phoebe. Come on, let's get this done. Pushing all the way. She's coming in there. Good enough for second place there, just 10 seconds behind Iona.
So yeah, the two students there at the top showing us how it's done. Just a slight technical issue, but the students, because they're still officer cadets, they don't actually count towards the podium positions, but it's a good training ground for them, and one day I'm sure they will be competing for those podium positions. And the final female Telemark racer on course, Emma Tadman, and she's RAF, isn't she? Am I right in saying? Yeah, so Flight Lieutenant Emma Tadman is the officer commanding Chinook support section at RAF Odium. She's got responsibility for all sort of exciting airworthiness issues, which I could bore you with, but won't. Well, we haven't really got time, but yeah, maybe revisit that at some point, Joe. Yeah, let's not. So Emma's been skiing Telemark a grand total of 2 weeks, just like some of the other ladies here, and that's incredible to be coming down this course after such a short period of time doing this sport. So we can see Emma Tadman now from the Royal Air Force just about to get on the jump. Let's see what she's got. Hey, straight over there. Time spent at the air is never wasted. And she's just making her way through these last few gates now. So this is only Emma's second ever race. She's doing really, really well. Another real athlete that we're lucky to have here with us. Come on, Tad, let's push it out. So it's just this steep section here that can be really tricky. Just losing her footing there a little bit. She'll get up around the next corner here, and she'll be looking to try and recover a little bit of energy in this downhill section. And I hope that those supporters, those vociferous supporters, especially the RAF girls in the middle, will add or take away a vital second from her time. Come on, Emma. Come on, Tad, you got this. Keep your head up, push all the way. You want to just keep her momentum coming up here. She will be absolutely hanging out now as she crosses the finish line. The final lady here in the Telemark Classic. It is brutal, and if the look on Emma's face right now doesn't tell you how brutal it is, she will not have any oxygen in those lungs. Doesn't matter how fit you are absolutely hanging out by the finish line. What were you like at Classic, Joe? Oh.
Yeah, so the first time I did this course, I actually got lost and went the wrong way. I had to turn around and come back on the skate section, so it was a bit of a disaster, actually.
You just desperately want to do the skate section twice. So our first male racer on course now, we've got Will Minchell.
Yeah, so Will's with the Royal Marines, and he works for Com UK Strike Force as SO3M7, if you've got that. Anyway, safely down the GS section, he's moving into the loom, and yeah, is making good time so far. So this is Will's first year racing with the Royal Navy team, and he's already had a 5th in the giant slalom, and was 14th in the sprint yesterday. Come on, Will, let's get this done. So Will just pushing up the final section now. We'll see what sort of time we're having set for the first of the men.
So 1:48.85 from Will there. Joe, what's that in terms of timings? Where do you think he'll sit?
That's pretty good. I think that'll be that should be certainly top 10 time, I would guess. But if you want to know the time to beat, you're going to see it right now. We've got Lieutenant James French just coming down the course now, and he is shifting.
And James came from GB set up with Telemark, didn't he? But he also races in Alpine.
Yeah, so James has been a GB junior in Alpine, and I raced against him sometimes in the indoors.
Wow.
Telemark as well, and he's just unbelievable skier. Yeah, he's won as an individual and combined here in both Alpine and Telemark. Going absolutely huge over the jump there. James just flying through these last few gates here. If he runs a clear course, he'll be very, very difficult to beat. So let's have some support for Lieutenant James French of the Royal Navy. James absolutely flying around the course.
Even the loom didn't slow him down.
No, I think he's going quicker than some of the ski racers in the skate section actually than on the GS. And James absolutely flying around the last couple of gates here on the skate in this BMT Telemark Classic, and we're going to have the time to beat.
Wow.
That's the line.
So 1:31.35 to James French, and like Joe's saying, having been here for a few years and seeing the arrival of James French on the scene, he is to begin with hands and feet above everyone else. But yeah, he is definitely the trendsetter. You know, that's the one. That's the time you're looking to beat, and does really well. Has podiumed in Alpine as well. So well done to James. We've now got John O'Young on the slopes. What can you tell us about him, Joe?
Yes, me and John go way back. He's Wing Commander, a physical education officer like myself, both been involved with adventures training over the years. And Jono's taken over as team captain. He's been running the team now for the last 5 years, and is looking to go into TDing and into some of the other support after that.
Yeah, is there I mean, we've seen in the Alpine there's names like Barney Rudge from the RAF who seem to go on forever, but is it the same in Telemark? Can you know, is there a shelf life?
Well, the shelf life seems to be a lot higher in Telemark, and often what you see is some of the best racers, people like Leslie Beck back in the day, an Olympic skier, finished 8th in Calgary in the slalom, moved across to Telemark after she finished her career as an Alpine racer. Jono's part of the RAF Silverbeard team.
Silverbeard team, there you go, you heard it here first.
And John O'Young just finishing off the last section of the course here. Come on, John O, let's get this done. And yeah, breaking 2 minutes there. Really, really credible time for Wing Commander John O'Young.
Well done, John O'Young, with the support getting bigger and bigger in the middle, which is brilliant to see. Well, now we have the 4th male racer on the course, and it is Cameron Howie.
Yeah, so Corporal Cameron Howie, the Royal Air Force, is currently serviced at Odium. He is an aircraft technician working on the mighty Chinook. And if you want to know any more about that, we'll have the RAF chairman of Telemark. He'll tell you all about him, about the Chinook, because he is a pilot, as he will tell you.
Oh, unfortunate. So he can get up and just climb back to the gate. That's
yeah, no, absolutely no. So as long as he clears the gates, he'll get a penalty for the landing. That wasn't an ideal Telemark landing, but he's back up and he's running again. Yeah, no, just taking a fall just after the jump there.
Yes, it's all about making sure you don't miss the gates, otherwise you have to climb back up to go through them. So Cameron then in the loom.
Yes, Cameron's only been with the RF team for a couple of years, and he's really, really coming on. He's a strong, fit lad, and we talk about the shelf life. He's one of our youngsters, and we're hoping to see a lot more of him over the next couple of decades. Only 29, he's a baby as far as Telemark's concerned.
Good to see the cowbells are out. That's what we wanted to hear on commentary.
Yeah, it's good atmosphere, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Cameron then, currently sitting in 5th with a time of 2 minutes 10.86. James French sitting pretty there with a 8-second advantage over Cameron Howie there. And we've got Stefan Hurst, who's a really, really good telemarker, isn't he? Yeah,
Stefan's certainly the Army #1 here this year. They've got Robbie Houston as well, who hasn't been able to make it, another very, very strong racer. But Stefan's absolutely shifting down here, and he'll be lucky to make some inroads on James's time. And pushing through as fast as he can. He's into the skate section now, and he is moving really, really well. Oh, I nearly put a kiss of death on him there.
I feel like we do that anyway just by being here, but yes, really good run from Stefan, and he will be one of the few people who can challenge James French at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he'll certainly be looking to get on the podium, and this is a really, really strong time for Stefan. I was expecting that. Yeah, that's excellent actually. Yeah, just 7 seconds behind James is a good time.
Okay, so that's 1 minute 38.69. James French sitting there at the top on 1 minute 31.35. And we now got Ben Atkinson, who you mentioned earlier, Joe, on course.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Ben joined us first from Exeter University Officer Training Course, so I'm racing at the British Champs and the Army Navies back in the day. Another really, really strong racer from the Army, going huge over the jump there, getting some really good air, and just now into the last few gates of the GS part of the course. And he's moving really, really nicely. Again, he's podiumed this week, and I'm sure he's going to be pushing to try and get back on it right now.
Just a couple of mentions. We've got Richard Wright, Army Telemark Secretary, watching from Saudi Arabia. So thank you to anyone who's commenting on the YouTube, Forces News YouTube and Facebook sites, as we see Ben Atkinson coming into the finish here.
Yeah, so come on Ben, let's get this finish now. Captain Ben Atkinson, the Royal Gurkhas, just finishing off the last section of the gate course. And safely across the line there, taking 3rd.
So another Exeter University graduate, or at least going, that's where he came from. They seem to be, if you're looking into getting into Telemark, maybe Exeter University is the place to be, as we see Ben Tawney on course in the men's competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So Flight Lieutenant Ben Tawney is on 45 squadron at the moment. He's working his way through the RAF flying training system. He's currently on the Phenom, and his ambition one day is to make it to the front line.
Oh, really?
He's just taken a tumble there, and I think he's lost the ski.
I
think it's probably going to be it's going to definitely be a DNF, unfortunately, for Ben. This is his 2nd year racing with the team, and he's coming on really, really well, really making the most of his holds whilst in the flying training system. Good
to see that Ben is back up though, because when you see the camber of this slope, when you're at the top of this slope, it's so steep, and every year I have to remind myself how steep it is. So those falls aren't just, he may have just slid down, but they're not minor events, are they?
No, that section is really tough, and it really is where you see the difference between some of the really strong racers and some of the ones who are less experienced. It really does make a huge difference how much speed you can take on that sort of section of the course.
So because of the fall there, it's a little break in action, just because they'll need to check that the racer A is okay, and that's paramount here, health and safety. We do have Dean Gillen on course at the moment, and we'll see him pop over the top in a while, but the most important thing is to make sure that the races are okay, and that's why sometimes we get delay in action, but it looks like he's up and given the thumbs up, so he'll just be able to ski off the course as we see Dean Gillen, and he'll be popping up the top any minute now, or any second now I should say. And there he is. See Dean right on the horizon there, and Ben Tawney, sad for him, but you still got, what's the remaining Telemark race we have here in Meribel?
Yeah, so tomorrow we've got the parallel sprint, which will include the top 16 finishers from the sprint that took place yesterday.
Right. So Dean Gillam then, what's...
Yeah, so Corporal Dean Gillam is one of many Royal Engineers. The Royal Engineers have a really big pedigree in telemarking. He's currently working with 24 Commando Royal Engineers. He's been in for 13 years, and he's also into his CrossFit.
Oh my gosh, he's one of them. No wonder he can telemark.
They're all pretty fit. That's the one thing they've got in common. You don't come and do this if you don't like your fizz.
The word CrossFit just sends shivers down my spine.
So Corporal Dean Gillam absolutely smashed it down the giant slalom section of the course. He's into the skate and he's looking really, really smooth now. We're seeing some great support here from the rest of the Telemark cohort in the middle. They can all really appreciate what he's going through right now, and he will be getting across the line and absolutely nailing it.
Dean Gillam then from the Army team in 1 minute 49.14. I'm delighted to see the Taplins have got their cowbells on. Dick and Nan, Alpine timers, and they're here in full support. That's good to see.
Good to see.
This is with the cowbell. Anyone who's been to Meribel will know the Taplins, a dynamic duo that they are. And we've got Steve Fryer on course, and just if he can get past this tricky bit here that Joe was just talking about, where Ben Tawney fell, and he's survived that, so he'll be heading into the jump right now.
Yeah, so Corporal Steve Fryer is actually a chef, believe it or not. He's got the perfect name.
I just got that, I was so slow. Corporal Steve Fryer, brilliant.
Yeah, he's been with the team for a couple of years, and he's really, really coming on. He's getting smoother and smoother as he goes, and seeing some real progression from Steve. Safely down the giant slalom section of the course and into the loom. He's another part of the RAF Silverbeard team.
I didn't know this was a thing, this is brilliant.
Yeah, I think we can look for some sort of synchronised skiing event for them to do later in the week if we can. So let's have a big round of applause for Corporal Steve Fryer of the Royal Air Force. Let's get this done, Steve. Come on, Steve, finish it off.
Steve Fryer then over the course in 2 minutes 6.30. Well, I mean, this reminds you of rowers at university who used to go on the ergo until they made themselves sick. It's that kind of brutality, isn't it?
It is really, really tough. Next on course we can see Lieutenant Commander Rambo Shaw of the Royal Navy team. I mentioned him earlier. Oh, he's just taken a huge jump.
I mean, that was good air, but lost his skis, but he's fine because he managed to make it around the pole in the end.
Yeah, right. he just got away with it there. It's a real balance between getting across the line and failure to cross the line. You incur a 3-second penalty. If you go big though, or too big, that can happen. Yeah. Rambo's definitely leaving everything on the course here. He's given absolutely everything he's got. He's had a good week so far. Results 9th and 7th in the GS and the sprint respectively, and he'll be looking to get a good result in the combined event if he can keep this up. He is the Royal Navy's submersible ski racer as a submariner background. Come on, Rambo, let's get across the line.
With a final push, Ramsey Shaw makes it across the line. Did he give himself that nickname, or
what, Rambo?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It was on his pen picture a couple of years ago, and I've stuck with it. I'm not sure if anyone else calls him it.
Well, it's stuck now for us. Gordon McRae, then, that's a name that goes back a few years.
Yeah, Gordy McRae on course now is the Royal Navy team captain. Gordy's been racing here as long as I can remember. He's boss of the RMR in Glasgow. And a thoroughly nice chap, and deceptively young, actually.
Does that mean he's young and looks old, or he's old and looks young?
Well, we thought he was about 72, but actually he's only 50s.
In his 50s, been kind to him there. So Gordy McRae, he's certainly a name that I recognise, and I've been coming over 10 years, so he's been around all that time.
Yeah, he's a great sportsman, Gordy McRae, and it's fantastic to be maintaining him in a team captain role for the Royal Navy. A really good sportsman, as I say. Safely down the giant slalom section of the course. He's into the skate. He'll be giving it everything he's got. He's still a very, very fit lad, as I say. Pushing it round now. Keep your head up, Gordon. Come on. Gordon just finishing off now this section. Massive, massive support from the rest of the Telemark fraternity.
Well, Gordy breaking that 2-minute barrier as well with 1:57.46. So that's a really good run from Gordy McCrae there.
Yeah, well done, Gordy. That was a great time. Next on course, Staff Sergeant Danny Johnson of the British Army. He's another very strong skier. Plenty of podiums in his career. He's currently another Royal Engineer with the 24 Commando Royal Engineers.
It's very noticeable, isn't it? The sort of, probably the more experienced, the Telemark turns, how deep they get that lunge.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really, really smooth technique, and yeah, it's pretty textbook actually what you see him do. But the depth of the lunge is differs from different races.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you need for that race.
Yeah, they tend to. You want to have a little bit of movement. You don't want to be too low or too high, otherwise you've got nowhere to go if you hit a bump. So let's get this finished now. Well done, mate. Let's get across the line. So.
Danny Johnson then sitting in 6th with 1:50.71. Another one to break that 2-minute, which is probably really good for the mental health, you know, to sort of break that 2-minute barrier.
Yeah, it's a strong time. And again, Danny's had a really successful championship so far this year, with a 3rd in the giant slalom and a 4th in the sprint. So that'll add on to his team across the combined event as well.
We've just got a member of the SF, the Hill team, just. What are they doing, Joe? I mean, it's obvious as Matthew Dean joins us at the top of the course, but they're just making sure that the ruts don't build up around the gates. Yeah, so the ESF just sliding the course there. Obviously, it's a hot day, and the course will be rutting up. So they're just trying to get rid of a few of those ruts and ensure the course remains safe. And what can you tell us about Matthew Dean?
So really exciting to see Matt Dean here. He's an aircraft engineering technician. I mentioned him earlier. It's his first year with the team. And in the last event, he did podium. So he came in 3rd in the sprint. He's a new talent. He is young. And the Royal Navy team are super excited to have him. And he is absolutely shifting here. He's going to be looking for a podium. And let's see what he's got.
He's definitely got the speed up, that's for sure.
Yeah, so he's a strong lad. And yeah, he's just bounced onto the scene this year. And great to see him. He's only 21 years old. And as I say, he came 3rd in the sprint yesterday, and he's looking really, really smooth here. That time is looking good. He's got everything to work for here.
Wow. So 1:44.41, that puts Matthew into 4th place as we stand. But we've still got some fairly big names to come.
Yeah, absolutely, and I should just say that these times are provisional. There are gate judges all the way down the course. Failure to execute a correct telemark turn incurs a 1-second penalty, and as I mentioned at the jump, failure to land at a jump, telemark position or immediately transition incurs a 2nd penalty, and failure to cross the line in the air incurs a 3-second penalty. So we could see more penalties being added onto these ski races.
So we have Adam Shave now on course, the not the better half of Sarah.
Yeah, so Wing Commander Adam Shave on the course. He's the chairman of RAF Telemark, and he's also a pilot, which you'll know if you've ever spoken to him.
Well, that's generally the rule with pilots, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, Adam's been with the Chinook Force, and he's currently Deputy Force Commander at Benson, flying both Puma and the Chinook over his career. He's also a keen skydiver. Oh, nearly getting wrapped up in the net there. That would have been funny.
For you, maybe.
Yeah, he'd have been really angry about that. Yeah, come on, Wing Commander Adam Shave. Let's see what you've got.
And number 1 supporter Sarah there, getting her over this really tough bit of the skate. And he's just coming to the uphill section. Yeah,
this is a family affair for the Shavies here. Sarah telling him what for there. Come on, Shavy, let's get across the line. Let's get this thing finished. And he's got absolutely nothing left. Well done, Shavy.
If any of you watching know what it's like to even incur a tiny hill on a pair of skis, I can tell you that on a pair of Telemark skis, after what they've just done, attempting to go uphill is incredible. As we see Richard Pike now on, and I believe this is blue 75, is that right?
This is blue 75, yeah, Flight Lieutenant Rich Pike. Rich is a parachute jump instructor based at Bryce Norton, and he's about to retire from the Air Force. Actually, this will be his last championships, certainly as a regular. Hopefully we'll see him back. But he's blue 75. He skis a 75mm binding, which is different from everybody else. And yeah, has been part of the RF team for quite a few years now, and he's looking pretty good here today. He's been probably the highest performing telemarker we've had this week so far, with some good results. He was 7th in the GS and 11th in the sprint. Looking really smooth now around the skate section. Another one of us from what was the physical education branch. We're now part of the training branch of the Royal Air Force, and he's a fit lad. Come on, Rich, get across the line.
Another really good time, and as Joe said, they are provisional because you have to go through protocol at the end of every race, but that is under that 2-minute barrier, 1 minute 57.34 to Richard Pike, otherwise known as Blue 75. And unless you're a technical geek, you probably won't get it, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so we've just seen Major Nobby Clark of the British Army team take a tumble midway down a steep section of the GS course. He'll be wanting to get up. He's definitely one of the grandfathers of Telemark,
yeah.
Having set the thing up back in the, or re-got Telemark going, British Telemark scene back in the noughties after it went a little bit quiet after some really successful racing in the 90s when we had, the likes of Leslie Beck, former Olympic skiers doing her thing.
And Nobby was around when I first started coming to these championships. With the likes of Chalky White, the sort of names that were around 10, 15 years ago. Yeah,
all the old boys. We did see Chalky White back here helping out with the official capacity. It was good fun actually a couple of years ago. Yeah, absolutely.
His real name's Andrew, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. But it is the military.
Yeah. He wasn't christened Nobby. So Major Nobby Clark now just finishing off the last part of the skate section. He's taking a tumble on the steep, but he's going to be trying to give everything he's got here to get a good time in for the Army. He's pushing up the last part of the course. And safely down.
Well done, Nobby. So that's 2 minutes 12.55 as we see the next racer on course already. They do keep them coming here in Meribel. It's a very professional setup. So once you see one finish, another one is normally on course, and it's Daffyd Howells next.
Yeah, so now on course we've got Lieutenant Colonel Daz Howells, team captain of the British Army. He's been having a good time here so far this week, working really, really hard and looking smooth. I really don't want to put the kiss of death on him, so I'll shut up. Daz just finishing off the GS part of the course there. That was looking really good. So as I say, when you cross that last blue line, you can do whatever you want in terms of parallel position. You won't pick up any penalties. And he's into the skate now. And again, as I say, Daz has had a successful championship so far, and he's looking good here today. Yeah, so Daz took a 4th in the GS and a 5th in the sprint, and he'll be hoping to be high up there in this event right now. He's looking pretty good across the line.
Really good time there from Daz Howells in the top 6 as we know it at the moment with 1:49.13. But James French still the man to beat at the top with 1 minute 31.35. And Richard Pearce now on course in this Telemark Classic.
Yeah, so this is Major Rich Pearce of the British Army. He was a last-minute transfer into the team and just making his way through the gates. He's racing as an individual. He's not part of the representative team. Team's comprised of the top 6 nominated racers. So he's racing just for the experience here really today. He's off over the jump safely and now moving down into these last few gates before getting tucked into some skating.
We've talked a lot about the Telemark turns, and obviously it's one of the major differences, the skis and having the ankle free in Telemark. Do you get many alpinists coming across to Telemark?
Yes, we do.
Yourself, obviously.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a common route. I mean, really, if you've raced Alpine, it's a fairly quick transition. Even if you haven't and you want to race in a Telemark setting, getting on the Alpine skis and doing it that way is definitely the fastest way to learn. So Major Rich Pearce now, the British Army, racing as an individual, as I said. He's just got to get through the last couple of gates and safely across the line. Well done, Rich.
So another one of the Army members here in this Telemark Classic here at the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships in Meribel. We've only got a few more races coming down. We've got Jonathan Stanley on course now.
Yeah, so this is John Stanley. He's also with the Royal Marines. He's an info manager based at Poole. This is his first year with the team as well, but apparently a big deal in climbing.
Wow.
That's what it says here.
Takes all sorts.
And yeah, safely over the jump. They went pretty big actually. That was looking really, really strong. And through the last couple of gates of the giant slalom section of the course and into the skate, we're seeing some huge support here. The entire Telemark fraternity out here, as well as some alpiners. And we have Dick, Taplin and Nan leading the way, supporting everybody.
Come on, Dick, you can wave your cowbell harder than that, I think.
Yeah, looking really good here. Come on, John Stanley, let's get this finished now. He's got a fantastic moustache as well, I do have to say. We'd have him in the Air Force with one of those.
Oh, John Stanley, yes. In fact, he asked for some footage the other day, and we did just decide to call him Tash. Well done, Johnny Stanley. Another sort of 1 minute 59.36. Again, breaking that 2 minute barrier, which seems quite key. And Ollie Frost now on course.
Yeah, so another of the individual ski racers from the Royal Navy team. Ollie's an RM mountain leader. Another one with his first year with the team. And another big deal mountaineer by all accounts. This is looking good for the Royal Navy. Some of these young guys coming through here, without doubt making the team in the future.
Lovely air there.
Yeah, looking really good over the jump there. That was really strong. I envisage he won't pick up any penalty points for that. And he's into the last few gates. Looking smoother, dare I say it. Yeah, we should see Ollie making it into the parallel event tomorrow. Representing the
that's the top 6, you said. From
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think he'll certainly make the cut. He's done really, really well here this week. So he's our penultimate racer, just finishing off the skate section there. Looking really good. Come on, everybody, let's have a big cheer. Ollie Frost, the Royal Navy teams from the Royal Marines. Well done, then.
Ollie Frost then just on the cusp of that 2 minute barrier, but very strong race. And our final racer then is...
Yeah, so we've got squadron leader Finlay Farthing of the Royal Air Force as our last racer here at the BMT Telemark Classic. Just coming over the hill now. This is Finn's first year with the RAF team, and he's a spring chicken at 50, and the last member of the Silver Beard team of the Royal Air Force.
Lewis, the cameraman, give him a couple more years and he'll be able to join the Silver Beard team, I reckon. It's very dark at the moment, but he's got a few strands.
Yeah, I think it's going well for him, actually. Yeah.
He can't give me a punch, actually, because he's operating the camera. Get me back later for that.
So this is Finn Farthing just coming down through the last few steeps, and he'll be onto the jump. Let's see what he's got. Time in the air, Finn. What are you going to do? I didn't get any tricks in there, but he's safely over.
Yeah.
So Finn is the currently serving as SO2 Total Safety for 22 group, which sounds thoroughly interesting. And he's also into flower arranging. Not sure if that's true.
Yeah, you do wonder who fills in these forms.
So Finn safely down the giant slalom section of the course, and he's just cruising now. Come on, Finn. He's smashing through this section here. Come on, pushing all the way, Finn. So Finn's done an awful lot of work in Norway and hasn't been able to get away for the championships up until this year. He's super excited to be here, and he's loving it. Really, really enthusiastic guy.
Come on, Finley, let's finish this in perfect style. Finlay Farthing then, our final racer in this Telemark Classic. And without going through protocol, Joe, and I know you need to rush and do your technical things, but it looks like James French is leading there for the men, and Claire Thomas for the women. I know that you've got the officer cadets as well, but as far as points count,
yeah, I think that's pretty much a done deal. I mean, I didn't see James pick up anything there, but there's no way that anyone's going to have beaten him time. So yeah, safe bets that those are our two winners.
Well, listen, Joe, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have to go off and do some things that no one else can do. You are the genius of timing. But, you know, a final word about the health and state of where Telemark is in the military, bearing in mind that we've got these, you know, women coming up and more. Do you see maybe in 10 years a full field of military women, and the men's team, you know, men's sport seems to be getting better and better as we go?
Yeah, I think in the British military, telemarketing is really bucking the trend. We're seeing it growing really well. We're seeing more investment in the sport, and it really does epitomise everything that we look for in a sport for the British military. It is a tough event, both mentally and physically. And yeah, it's just fantastic to see us going from strength to strength.
Well, Joe, we're going to say goodbye to you because we've got the two race leaders here for the men's. We'll talk to James French first, and we'll come on to. Is it Iona or yes, Iona as well here. So just as we finish, thank you much, Joe. We'll see you in a bit. Thank you for your expertise. James, we're just finishing the live broadcast. No swearing, thank you very much. Remember to put the mic right up to your lips so we can hear you. Just tell us what that course was like. You are a familiar name here at these championships now in Alpine and in Telemark, but just tell us what today and the weather, you know, how that contributed to a great race.
Yeah, it's been a great race. It's tough conditions. It's fantastic for spectating down here, but the hot weather's makes the snow breaks up a little bit, and certainly a bit slushy in the finish area. But I still think it's meant for great racing against all three services, but tough conditions.
You know, I know you pride yourself on being up there on the podium at least for these Telemark events, but you know, you've got the likes of Stefan Hurst, and there's some names really coming up. Matthew Dean, I hear, was, you know, coming up behind you as well. So, you know, you're aware of that, and are you having to improve year on year as well?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see. It makes for much better competition. It makes it much more fun for me as well, having to bring my A game. It's great to see not only the Army guys have been strong for a number of years. They haven't got all of their best guys here, but it's fantastic to see personally that the Navy have got some really good strong guys coming up, and I think we can take it back to the Army.
Well, listen, James, thanks so much for setting a standard as well. It's been brilliant to watch you over the years, and I'm glad you've been able to come onto the live broadcast. If you could hand the microphone over to Iona, I'm going to speak to the ladies. Thank you, James, and congratulations. We'll see you at prize giving. Now, Iona, right, hold it up to your lip. Yeah, it's a lip mic for a reason. I know that you guys are officer cadets. Just tell us a little about what Exeter University is doing to bring on telemarkers there, because you seem to be doing quite well there.
Yeah, so we've had great opportunities with the OTC. It was kind of started a couple years ago by one of the officer cadets, and we started going out on Telemark Titan, and it's been continued through by some of the officers. This year it was done by Captain Marty Adams. He took out a group of us to PLV who'd never telemarked before, gave us the opportunity to give it a go, and it's taken on massively. So loads of girls have come through as well. We had 5 females out there this year, so it's been great. It's
such a positive to see you guys here, because we've seen maybe 2, 3, 4 military telemarkers coming every year, but to see 6, and historically as well to have all, you know, one from each service. Are you looking forward to what the future in the Army brings when you've got, you know, events like this on for you every year?
Oh, 100%. It's very exciting. We've already been talking about like plans for the future and when we're going to be able to actually come out here and represent properly. So it is very exciting. It gives us great things to look forward to and train up for as well.
And just finally, tell us, like James did, you know, what the course was like for you guys, what it's like to race, and try and give us an idea of exactly how brutal the Telemark Classic is as well.
So it's fairly long. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw, I pretty much fell over the finish line.
I don't blame you. I fell over and I was only commentating.
It wasn't the prettiest of finishings, but it's definitely it's a brutal course. It's really long, especially when you've not been telemarking for long. You've not got the muscle memory yet for all of it, so you get to the bottom of the course, your legs are already sore, and you go into that skate, and the skate can be brutal, especially with the little uphill that they've decided to add in for the end of this one.
Oh, they do that every year. Yeah, be prepared for that. It'll get bigger as well. Sometimes you almost have to go half the slope. Iona, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on an incredible run, and for keeping the female Telemark sort of run going, because we want to see more and more of you, and I hope that you can bring more people into the sport over the years.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. I'll take that back. We'll come and see you in a bit. That will be the end of our broadcast here on Forces News Facebook and Forces News YouTube. I hope for those of you who have never watched Telemark before, that's given you a real taste of what it's like. I now realise I'm on camera with a limb mic, but it's been brilliant to see you. Congratulations to the racers, and we're so glad that we were able to bring you the bluebird sky as it was. And that's it from us here in Meribel. There are more events. We've got day 5 tomorrow and day 6 on Friday. We will be bringing you as much action as possible, but sadly no more lives from out here. But if you check out all of our socials on BFBS Sport and Forces News, as well as going to forces.net, you can find out more about these athletes that have been in position today, and of course the snowboarders and the alpine skiers. And at the end of the week, we will bring you a wrap-up package on who has won what and which service has won the most. That's all the best. I'm Kath Brazier. Thank you to my team of Lewis Bartley, Sarah Bells and Christopher back in the office in Chalfont, and also Claire Sadler and Simon Hunter, who are out here as part of the BFBS team. Enjoy, and we will see you soon.
Big play coming back to Mason. Suddenly this game switches once again. The cut back from the outside centre, and he's over.